Welcome and thanks for logging on to WYCC.org for In the Loop, the Post Show. Our guest, journalist and author Monroe Anderson, PR consultant Michelle D'Amico, and NBC5 Chicago's entertainment reporter Leanne Trotter. Earlier you were talking about overcrowding at the Cook County Jail, and one of the solutions is a proposed solution to decriminalize prostitution in the sense that it should no longer be a felony in the state of Illinois. Monroe, what's your thought?
I think we should do it. In fact, I think we should decriminalize prostitution and marijuana, make Chicago the Amsterdam of the Midwest, and we'll all be
the Amsterdam of the Midwest.
So we should have red light districts. Set up Rush Street as an official red light district.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and if they do that, then they can start, if the government took marijuana and started selling it,
and
they could make money.
And
That's right.
Tax it.
Yes,
tax it.
And monitor it so we won't have the health issues with the prostitution that you can have.
Yes.
Because the women could be checked on a regular basis.
How do you think that'll go over?
Oh,
It's not going to go anywhere.
Well,
it is not going to go anywhere.
Well, if I become king.
Well, the thing is that it seems that the county jail officials and the law enforcement officials have sort of quite different motivations here. We just had Anita Alvarez, state's attorney, on the show, and she was talking about sex trafficking and making the point that it's not a victimless crime, that it's getting worse in Chicago. So if you send a message that you're going to decriminalize prostitution, isn't that a law enforcement concern?
It's not a victimless crime because it's not regulated. If in fact it were legal, and then you could, just like you can prevent children from showing up in bars, you could do that with prostitution.
But you've got these women who are held sometimes in terrible conditions. They're trafficked. They're kept on drugs.
Well.
I mean, this is not really a light-hearted question.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that are being criminalized, and what about the ones that are making them do it?
Yeah.
That, you know, the pimps.
Exactly. Focus on the pimps.
Yeah, we don't hear anything about them. Do they ever get caught?
Right. Now, if you look at the lottery system, that used to be the numbers system.
That was the numbers game before we made lottery official.
Exactly.
But if you're going to, if prostitutes are no longer considered felony criminals, what about their pimps? They should get the harder rap against them. And does that mean that they'll be treated in the same way, that they're no longer considered felony as well?
Yeah, I mean, part of the impetus here is that these women, some of whom are trafficked, come away from this with a felony on their record. So it makes it hard for them to change their life. And I'm just wondering, in your eyes, is it sad on some level that it takes budgetary concerns and not compassion to take a look at changing the law in this measure?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're not a compassionate society, unfortunately.
And we don't have any foresight. The problem is not prostitution. The problem is the way we treat people who are disadvantaged, who need greater services, who need better jobs, who need to be pulled out of poverty so they don't resort to prostitution or other criminal endeavors. And we're not looking at that in a comprehensive way.
No.
It is interesting that we're talking about legalizing things that were once considered terrible crimes. We're talking about bringing a casino into down Chicago. Monroe, you're suggesting the decriminalization or perhaps even the legalization of prostitution, which is a step beyond that, of course.
Well, you can't successfully legislate morality. I mean, prostitution was the world's second oldest profession. And so it's going to be there. So what you want to do is regulate it in a fashion so that women can't be exploited. Because, you know, some people, if they want to be sex workers, why not? But they should not be exploited in the process.
And I think that this is now the time to be seizing on these kinds of ideas. It seems like we're in an era in 2013 where there's been shifts in our views on morality, shifts in our views on whether or not people of the same sex have the right to love each other and express that love in a certification in a marriage document. There are a lot of, with our younger populations, directing society's views on things like gay rights and also on legalization of marijuana. There are lots of opportunities, I think, here to be considering these kinds of topics in a real sense and not just a hypothetical.
Lots to talk about. We thank you, Monroe Anderson, Michelle D'Amico, Leon Trotter. Thank you for joining us. Until next week, good night.